Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a 2021 Mazda 3 Turbo. I'm sure you guys are all excited for me to drive this. That'll be later in today's video. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Mazda here in Southtown, Utah for providing us with the Mazda 3 Turbo. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Mazda 3 Turbo, we have a turbocharged 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 23 around town and then 31 on the highway, with power outputs being 227 horsepower and then 310 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over the front end of the Mazda 3 Turbo. First off, I love the body lines there on the hood, and this color is absolutely insane. It's the polymetal gray metallic, really good looking color. And then we've got the full LED lights here at the front. I just love how it's like a circle around the projector bulb. Just looks really cool. You can see like the lines there on the side, just another cool little touch. And then it continues to some black trim, which goes really good with this polymetal gray metallic paint there on the front. The Mazda logo does double as a sensor right there in the front, but other than that, that is everything for the front end of the new Mazda 3 Turbo. Now come around the side here, we've got two 15mm tires on 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear. And if we take a step closer to it, I really like the design on these wheels. What would be really cool is if the person that purchased this car painted the brake calipers to match the polymetal gray. I think that'd be a really cool aesthetic. But I love how they have like the darker gray on the wheels. It kind of contrasts to this lighter gray paint. And then notice that they've blacked out the mirrors on the car, but here is a full side view on the Mazda 3 hatchback. Now let's go over things in the rear of the Mazda 3 Turbo. So you can see that you actually get regular Mazda 3 floor mats, so your floor mats aren't going to tell you that you have a turbo either. And then in terms of cargo space back here, this is the hatchback, so it's got a little bit more space compared to the sedan in the height department. And then you do get a cargo cover that already comes built in with the Mazda 3 Turbo. And then if you guys are wondering, you still do get a spare tire with this car. No fix-a-flat kit or anything like that, but there's one more look in the hatch. Let's go over things in the rear of the Mazda 3 Turbo. First off, I love the look of the turn signals. So as I'm pressing the unlock, you can see what those look like. Just a really cool signature look. And then the rest of the taillights in general, you guys know that I really like the design of these taillights. Super futuristic looking. And then you get your regular badging Mazda 3 all-wheel drive. And then this is how you know it's a turbo. Sky Active Turbo right there on the back end. And then you can see the exhaust tips just down below here in the rear. It is dual outlet exhaust, which is pretty cool. I love the black accenting here at the bottom as well. It's kind of like two-tone with the car, but that is everything before we pop in. So here's the door panel on the back of the Mazda 3. So I really like that they've done this black stitching with the soft touch, and they do more soft touch down below. So pretty much most of the door panel is covered in soft touch material. And then you got that black trim that I totally just left a fingerprint on. My bad. Anyways, coming to the seats themselves, really nice leather seats. You can see just how smooth it is, and yes, they are soft as well. Now let's actually pop in back. So you got to duck a little bit. If you're wondering, I'm about 5'11", and I got just a tiny bit of headroom back here. And then there's what my legroom looks like. No vents or anything back here, but wait for it, you do get a couple of cup holders, and I just love how the rear looks. Like the rear still looks very, very nice from an interior perspective. Let's take a look at the door panel here in the front. So again, they continue the darker stitching here and then the soft touch all along the whole door panel. You've got one of the speakers for the Bose sound system. You've got all the window controls here, the mirror adjustments as well. And then here are the seats at the front. Again, very nice, really soft to touch. And then you've got that black stitching all throughout. And yes, the seats, they're just really nice. There's your adjustments on the side of the seat. Here's what the pedals look like. And then notice that you do get memory seats as well. And then this is for some of the safety tech. And then you've got your stability control. And then there is one more look before we actually pop in. Now here's a quick look at the steering wheel in the Mazda 3 Turbo. We can see that you've got your cruise control over here on this side, And yes, it does have the adaptive function on it, which is really nice. Got your paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel if you want to manually shift the gears yourself. And then you've got the controls for like the volume, to change the radio station, phone controls, all of that. Really smooth leather all around the steering wheel. And then they did the black stitching on the inside part of the steering wheel. I love how open the design is on the steering wheel. It kind of has like more of like an old school look to it, but obviously with all the modern stuff. And then you can see you've got the stock for the lights, and then you got the stock for the windshield wiper, and that's all. Now here is the center gauge cluster. You can see that you've got the RPMs over on the left side, and then you've got the temperature gauge, fuel gauge over on the right side, and then right there in the middle, it'll show you some of the safety tech there in the center if you'd like, and then it's a digital speedometer as well. And then there are different menus you can scroll through, so you can make it be like kind of more like an analog speedometer if you want. It's still digital, but it has like that analog look to it, and you've got those different menus you can scroll through, but I definitely like this like digital layout look. I think it looks the best in my opinion. So here's the center infotainment system. Now it is not a touchscreen, but before we get into that, let's actually get into the backup camera function of it. So if we pop it into reverse, the backup camera will pop up. Now the trajectory lines do not turn with the steering wheel, but you guys can see the resolution on it's actually pretty solid. And then popping it back into park, you guys can see with the infotainment system is pretty straightforward. So like if you want to go to entertainment, you go to entertainment. And if you want to go over to like the radio, you go over to the radio. Like it's really easy to use with this whole dial system. And other than the fact that it's not a touchscreen, I think it's a really good infotainment system. Got our whole like analog climate control section down here. Now you do get a dual zone climate, and then you do get heated seats to the front, heated steering wheel as well. Stop start button's pretty neat, just chilling over there. And then we can see down here we've got a couple of cup holders, some extra storage space, and then you got a little USB hiding in that area. Here's the shifter for the 6-speed automatic transmission. There is a manual shift function if you do want to shift the gears yourself. And then you can see here you've got the sport mode. So basically you can go sport, or you can have the sport mode off. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, easy to use. And then here is that little dial to control the infotainment system. So you choose the dial, and then you have shortcut buttons to the different functions. So like if you want to go to the navigation, just press that and then it'll throw it over to that screen. Got your electronic parking brake. This is just for the volume, and this is your favorite button, so you can set your favorites for different things in the car. Just beyond all of that, we got the center console. So notice that this slides backwards and forwards. Picking up, it's actually a pretty decently sized center console for how small this car is. You can see that you've got a little area where you can charge some devices, and closing it up, you can see just how smooth the leather is here on the top. And then coming over here, you can see you've got the vents down below. I just love the design of this. So you've got the stitching across the dash, all soft touch, kind of continues in one continuous line all across. And then you have this part with like the venting and the speakers and all that that's in its like continuous line that goes all the way through the climate controls. It's just cool how they've all connected that together. And then yes, you've got a regular glove box, but look, even like the handle in the glove box just looks nice material wise. So overall, like this interior just very, very well put together. Now up top here, we've got a sunglass holder and then a sunroof as well. Pretty straightforward, black headliner, nothing too special happening up top here, and that is all. Now that we're done going over the interior on this Mazda 3 Turbo, let's quickly get into pricing. So in terms of pricing, this particular Mazda 3 Turbo with all the equipment it has stickers for about $31,000 before any type of market adjustment. That being said, let's take this Mazda 3 Turbo out and see how it drives. We talked about visibility here on the Mazda 3 Turbo before we set off. So you can see visibility over the hood's actually not too bad. This does get in the way slightly, but again, it's not bad by any means. You can just adjust your seat up. There's your visibility through both the mirrors. Remember, it does come with blind spot monitoring. And then here's the visibility all throughout the rear. So you can see there is a little bit of a blind spot, but remember, it does have blind spot monitoring, so it's not really an issue at all. And that being said, let's set off. I am initially setting off here in the Mazda 3 Turbo, and I'm actually really excited to set off in this car today because this is kind of like a return to the Mazda 3 Speed in a way, which is just really, really cool. But obviously this is like way more luxury than when that car was out. But initially setting off, in terms of the road noise and ride quality, from a ride quality perspective, really smooth for the segment, definitely more on the luxury side, and that's kind of what Mazda has been going after, just being more of a luxury type brand but not at a luxury price. You can see turning here. Yeah, I mean, the car's small, so turns as expected. In terms of the steering, even with this all-wheel drive system, there's still quite a bit of feel through it. Now, we are going to pop it into the sport mode and in the manual mode, because we are going to get an acceleration up here. Gear shifts are actually pretty good. They're a lot better than what I had expected. But let's get our little acceleration here now with the Mazda 3 Turbo and see what she's made of. Wow, that is a lot quicker than I expected. Because you guys heard the power figures, 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. But yeah, this thing is quick. And especially for how small this car is. And you actually get a little bit of blow off, so if you guys can hear. Very, very quiet. Not sure that's going to come through onto the camera, but sounds really good as well. But yeah, in terms of cars in this segment, there's really nothing else that compares to this right now. Just wow, this is impressive. And before anyone says Subaru WRX or STI, well, they don't offer a hatchback anymore, so I don't want to hear it. But let's get another acceleration here and I'll stop talking. That is phenomenal. That is such good power. Like, this car is rightfully quick, and it's actually fun to play with the paddles on this car as well. Like, it does a really good job. I'll pop it over into the automatic mode for this last little part to see if it does a little bit better in the automatic mode versus the manual mode, because some cars do drive a little bit better in the automatic mode. I like the manual mode better, but I mean, it still does a really good job. And that'll actually get me into summing things up with the Turbo Mazda 3. And wow, we got back really quick. I wonder why. So, really solid car. I absolutely love the interior quality. It's just such a nice interior, especially from the price point that this car is at. You just really, really can't beat it. And then in terms of the exterior styling, they have also just nailed it with this car. It has really good exterior styling as well. Performance, it's right there. Again, it's like the best in its segment now. The Mazda without the turbo already has a good amount of power. Now this with the turbo, nothing compares to it at this point. So other manufacturers need to take notes and make turbocharged hatchbacks like this, because everyone's just going to buy Mazda at this point. That is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Mazda 3 Turbo. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Southtown Mazda for providing us with this Mazda 3 Turbo. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in the next video.